In my last video, my car completely died.
Putting the key in, and there's no power at all.
So after diagnosing a really large parasitic drain, I started pulling every single fuse in the car to see if I could isolate where it was coming from. But I had no luck and I was starting to get really frustrated.
I literally do not know what to do anymore.
And then I had the idea to unplug the alternator and test that, and guess what?
Did it?
It turns out it was the alternator that had gone bad and was completely draining my battery within a few hours. So after several days of diagnosing and some frustration, I was over the moon to have finally figured out what the issue was. Except, there's one more thing. I actually have to fix the thing! And not only do I have to learn how to fix it as I'm fixing it, I move out of this house in the morning, so this car needs to be fixed tonight. And oh boy is that gonna be an adventure.
Come on. You're kidding me. I'm so confused. We're back on the road! Alright, so today I'm going to attempt to replace my alternator because it turns out it's draining my entire battery in a few hours every time it's parked. So I'm gonna attempt that now.
And you can probably already tell I'm really not feeling confident about this. I've never done any work with the alternator or really anything in the engine bay, so I'm kind of nervous about what struggles I might run into. And spoiler alert, they were even weirder than I could have ever really expected. So anyway, I got started pulling out the alternator, and there's basically two things that need to happen. The first is that I need to undo the tensioner at the top of the alternator, and the second is I need to remove the bottom bolt, which is essentially acting as the hinge for that alternator. So, seems pretty easy, right?
I messed up. I loosened that alternator bolt over there, but because I loosened it out, it pushed the wrench against the subframe, so the wrench doesn't come out, the socket wrench, and I can't switch which direction that socket wrench rotates because that lever is on the backside that's squished against the subframe. So I kind of just got my wrench stuck between the alternator and the subframe. Beautiful. Ah. Yo, I did it. Oh my god. I got it! That was dumb. So I completely loosened up those two bolts right here, but now the issue is the alternator belt still has a lot of tension because the alternator is not hinging on that bottom bolt. So I'm trying to loosen it because right now it's just not moving. It has a lot of actually it's lost a little bit of tension now, so I think it's just not sliding well. I just kind of need to shimmy it around until it finally loosens and comes off this belt.
So with that tensioner undone, I just had to remove that bottom bolt that it was hinging on, and I'd be good to go. But there was still that issue where the bolt didn't have enough clearance to fully come out. So I still have that hurdle to cross.
Whoa, it's so clean! Wow. So the tensioner piece does not come on this, that's what I'm looking for. Alright, here's the tensioner stuff. Let's see what we got. Oh, you're kidding me. How do you do that? Oh. So this doesn't make any sense to me. The bolt that holds the alternator, it's like fully backed out, right? And it's just hitting, I think, the subframe. So look at that. Like, I don't understand how I'm supposed to loosen that bolt and pull it off. It's just smacking the subframe like that. Like, that's a pretty long bolt. How did they even put it on the first place? What?
You know, of all the issues I've run into with this car,
Too, it goes all the way here.
this is just one of the weirdest.
What?
I know this is an easily serviceable item, so I couldn't figure out, this needs to be a simple repair. Why does this bolt not have enough room? I must be doing something wrong, but there's only one way that the bolt goes, so like, I don't know, I'm at a complete loss at this point.
What? I'm so confused. Okay, so interesting. So according to Google, that is not part of the engine. That's what's called the intake manifold brace, and it comes off really easily. And that's how this bolt was originally put in. So I don't know when that was added, but it definitely wasn't in the NA video I watched. So I guess for my NB, that has to come out somehow. So
And that explained a lot, because half of my
Great.
confusion was that didn't even exist in the video I had watched, which was of an older car. So I undid 2 bolts at the top, and you can see it finally moved that mount completely out of the way.
Okay. Haha. Alright, I haven't fully removed it yet, but you can now see that bolt has some clearance. So this part moves, which is interesting. Cool. Looks like that brace still needs to go. Alright, so it's hanging on. Here we go. Alright, bolt has come out. So the question is where... Uh-oh. This is... Oh, geez, this is still glued. So where will I even pull the alternator through? That's the question. Okay, coming loose. Okay. Please don't explode liquid on my face! Ah! Okay, okay. Ah! Ah!
So with that mount, old alternator was out.
Ah! Oh man, good luck. Hey! I did it! Oh my god! Look at that!
Alright, so the old alternator's out, so I just gotta put in the new one in. But, I conveniently didn't record putting the alternator in, which wasn't really that eventful, but it was exciting because it went in and I got the new part in without the same amount of fuss as I had to, without the same amount of fuss that as what I went through when I had to pull it out. But so basically the alternator is in just with the pivot bolt. There's no tension. It literally is just like flopping around. So I'm gonna put the tensioner on it and then tension it pretty hard and then tighten that final pivot bolt down. At this point, y'all are probably wondering, Abby, how did you fail to record earlier? I'll tell you, you don't hit the button. Which is like the #1 rule of making a YouTube video, I guess, is hit record. Yeah, I kind of felt like an idiot for that one.
And there goes my wrench.
So with the new alternator in, I basically had 3 things left to do. Tighten in that pivot bolt, put the tensioner back in and tighten that, and then finally also tighten back that intake manifold brace that had originally blocked me. So I got started putting all that back together. Whew. I think I'm done. All the bolts are tightened down pretty nicely. Everything's in. The belt was actually starting to come off the water pump pulley, so I made sure the belt that I had loosened to get the alternator off was put back on correctly. Everything's in. There's no clutch fluid leaking from yesterday's clutch install. I think I have fixed my car. I think it's in a running state, which means I can move in tomorrow, which is beautiful timing. It feels weird, but I can't think of anything else left to do, so I guess I'm just gonna connect the battery and give it a shot. Okay. So putting in that new alternator had kind of capped off a long week of diagnosing my electrical issues, putting in the clutch hydraulic system, and of course now here putting in the new alternator. So that's why I kind of felt funny that I was done, and I think my car is actually ready to go. So I hooked up the multimeter and took a look. So I was getting a 0 amp draw, so it seemed like my issue was fixed.
For reason I'm a little confused. It doesn't even say like point. Oh shit. Oh shit. I fixed it. Wow. Okay, so it's not, most of the time it's actually a 0 draw. But once in a while it's kind of popping up as 0.0. Oh, there it is. Okay, it must have been loose connection. I did it!
That feels good. I can drive my car now, which I don't think I've driven my car in like 2 or 3 weeks. I bought a whole ass house in the time that this car stopped working. So with that, my car was finally ready to be back on the road after several weeks. Alright, so I'm gonna start the car. This is the scariest part, because I know I did everything. I've checked everything. This would be my first time both powering on the car and running the car since I put the new clutch hydraulics and the new alternator in. So there's a lot of things that I've touched. I was surprised that I was actually kind of a little anxious at this point. It's a little scary because if anything goes wrong, if this doesn't work, if I get no power, I don't know what I would have done wrong. But I guess there's only one way to find out. We got power. I pressed the clutch. Come on. The car actually works. Okay, weak start, but it's on. Interesting. The idle speed is pretty low. It's at like 1200. Usually it's at like 1500. I want to make sure I don't hear any weird belt sounds.
There definitely is a small belt sound, isn't there?
Oh, I think I know why the revs were so low at start. It is almost 100 degrees today, and it's been 100 degrees. The engine is physically actually quite warm, even though it hasn't been run. Right, I live in Texas. Okay, time to give it a small drive. And this was my favorite part of the night. Finally driving my car for the first time in almost 3 weeks. All right, the clutch is working. Okay, things are looking good so far. Oh my gosh, it's driving. Wow. Yeah, we're back on the road. I guess I shouldn't go too far in case this does die on me. And I probably should check the voltage when I get back. Wow. Oh my god, I miss this car. It was pretty cathartic to drive the thing after it had given me so much stress for a few weeks. I love this thing so much. On the main road. Yeah. Yeah. Feels good. Miss this car. Man, what an up and down journey I've had with this car, but I really wouldn't have it any other way. Learning how to work on this car has been one of the most fulfilling experiences of my life, and the connection I'm developing with it, the more I actually do a lot of hands-on work with it, feels amazing. I can't believe all of that actually worked. I don't know how much the new clutch stuff added, but the clutch still works, which is where the bar was at for me. I just wanted things to even function. This is incredible. Okay, start off easier. So I do need to check the battery voltage, and I just covered up the battery. Forgot about that one. But yeah, today's a really good day. 12.8 volts, look at that. Nice. So I checked that the clutch is working fine, but in terms of the alternator, I made sure that the parasitic loss is gone. It's now only drawing about 10 or 20 milliamps instead of like 3.6 amps when everything is off. And the voltage is now charged up to 12.8 compared to the 12.3 it was before the drive, which is after the battery sat disconnected for like 2 weeks. So the alternator is doing everything it should be and not doing anything it shouldn't be. So I think that's it. And actually, now that I think about it, this video you're watching right now will probably be the last video you see filmed at Murder Shed, because I'm moving. So goodbye, Murder Shed. You will not be missed. And goodbye, rats. I think y'all are dead at this point, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, I'll finally have a real garage that doesn't have rats, mosquitoes, and then keep a little colder with AC. Wow, this is where it all started. This was pretty bittersweet. As much as it really wasn't that fun to be working outside with all the mosquitoes on my driveway, it still was the place I lived when I first got this car, and where I started on this incredible journey. But I'm even more excited for the future. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.